Okay, so today I'm going to be talking about the books I read in April and what I'm reading or planning to read in May. So we'll cover each book in a few words and why I liked or disliked it and or why I'm excited by them. Hoping to turn this into a regular series on the channel and as an update and a discussion type series. So welcome to my channel. This is Nemours Book Nook. It's a place where I talk about fantasy, sci-fi, classics, and in general any book that has made a lasting impression on me. So let's get on with it. Okay, so starting with April, the first book I read in April, and it's going to be here because I did not read it in physical form. I read it as an ebook, and it is A Magic Steeped in Poison by Judy Lynn. So this book was, I gave it a 2.5 star rating as it kind of was a book that I had a lot of issues with. Okay, so it's an Asian-inspired fantasy with a magic system that's based on different kinds of tea, right? And the powers that drinking that tea can give you if you can wield it. So the magic system was for sure the sort of the saving grace of the book and the highlight of it. And it has potential to be quite interesting, I would say. But on the flip side, the characters I found to be really, really unengaging, and bland. I really couldn't connect or grow to care about any of them. And the plot was also full of sort of conveniences and plot holes and things that are happening just to move the plot forward. And it moved way too fast. I mean, the pacing was just totally off. There was always something happening. There was always something that, it came like out of nowhere, and it was weird. And I'm also not. This might be a bit controversial, but I'm also not the biggest fan of the first-person view in epic fantasy books because I don't think that you can as easily create your own sort of mind's view of the world, as the descriptions are kind of painfully lacking. Obviously, this is individual to the book, but in general, for first person, it's a bit harder to describe things and to really set the scene. And finally, the attempted romance in the book was also, well, for lack of a better word, it was cringy, definitely. All in all, I didn't really enjoy the book a lot, but and I'm probably not going to read the second book because it's a duology. But yeah, it was actually a buddy read, so it's one of the risks of doing buddy reads. But at least it was fun to discuss with people, and basically bitch about the issues. So yeah. The second book I read was The Hero of Ages. So that was Mistborn Book 3. Again, I read it on an ebook format. And this is the final book of Mistborn Era 1. So that's the first Mistborn trilogy. And yeah, it was, if I couldn't summarize it in one sentence, it was a satisfying conclusion. I definitely liked it. It wasn't as meandering as the second book was in places. And most characters and plot lines got a pretty great conclusion, I would say. There was a lot of world building and a lot of foreshadowing that was revealed from as far as the beginning of the first book, and I think Sanderson definitely knows how to do storytelling and really catch you off guard. The magic system as well is as great as ever, and it was developed quite a bit here. I did like it, definitely. I gave it 4.5 stars, as I mentioned, most of the characters got satisfying conclusions, but for some of them, I really think that Sanderson could have done more and fleshed them out a bit more and just have better conclusions for them. I'm quite excited to go on with Era 2, even though it does have some pretty controversial opinions about it, or polarized more like it. There is also this novella called Secret History, which is about Kelsier mostly, so I'm pretty excited to get into that as well. We'll be actually doing a full review of the Mistborn Era 1 at some point because I really enjoyed the experience and would definitely like to talk about it. And finally, the last book I read in April was quite a bit different than anything I've read so far. And it's a short book called Lanny by Max Porter. So it's a bit hard to explain, to be honest. It's a modern day mystery, a fantasy, bogeyman, acid trip, philosophical type story. Okay, so that's kind of the best I can do. Quite hard to describe without spoiling it for sure. And it describes the lives of people in a small British village, specifically a family with a rather special child, so to put it, and an artist, and a bogeyman type monster that looms over the village. There's a lot of deep ideas in the book, as well as being a pretty good mirror to our society, I think. You'll definitely be quite confused at times, but the conclusion is fairly satisfying, if a bit mundane, to be honest. But yeah, I gave it 4 stars, and I think it's short and definitely worth the read. Moving on to May, a book I started in April and plan on finishing in May is it's actually the only one that I have physically, is The Shadow Rising by Robert Jordan. This is book 4 in the Wheel of Time. It is one of the longest in the series, about 1,000 pages. And yeah, I didn't read a lot of it in April, unfortunately. I've been doing this buddy read of Wheel of Time in Discord, one book a month. And to be honest, yeah, it caused a bit of burnout. And so we're taking it a bit slower. So we've delayed the 5th book until June. It was supposed to be May, so that we can actually catch up with the 4th book. It's going a bit slow in the start, but yeah, I think there's a lot of great world building here, and finally getting to learn more about a certain desert people, which I'm pretty excited about. So I can bring it out on my e-reader here. Not sure how much this is focusing, but yeah. Yep, there we go. Let's see, cover, which is cool. So this is one of Brandon Sanderson's standalone Cosmere novels, like Elantris. I'm definitely loving the magic system here. So the magic system is based on colors and these breaths that people have, and they can bring things to life and so on. And you know, the more breath you have, the brighter your aura is, and the more vibrant the colors around you. It's a really fascinating concept. It's also a pretty political novel. Like, there's a lot of political intrigue and some interesting characters, some pretty cool world building. So yeah, I think it's quite promising. I'm about 200 pages in. So yeah, I feel like it's going to be definitely a favorite of mine. So a couple of books that are on the back burner if I finish these two. One of them is The Island of Dr. Moreau by H.G. Wells. It is a sci-fi classic about a scientist who's doing these experiments on people on a deserted island and turning them into beasts. I really love H.G. Wells. He's such a good writer, and I've loved the books I've read by him, which are The Time Machine and War of the Worlds. Invisible Man is something I have to read, but he's really a staple in the genre, and he's definitely worth a read. Another one is Frankenstein, which by obviously Mary Shelley, which is one of the biggest classics in sci-fi to date. Don't think I really need to describe it, but yeah, it's high time for me to finally read it. The plot actually seems to be similar to The Island of Dr. Moreau, or it should be the other way around. But yeah, Frankenstein. And finally, I have A Wizard of Earthsea, which is starting sort of my reread of the Earthsea cycle. I've read the first 3, and yeah, I want to go to read the rest of them. But I really need to start from the beginning because I read this book a long time ago, so I don't remember much of it. But yes, fantasy classic by Ursula K. Le Guin, which is another sort of classic staple in the genre. Magic, dragons, and all these kinds of cool things. And yeah, I think I'm gonna try to read a lot more classics in the next months. Kind of getting to that classic mindset and really trying not to read 2 epic fantasies at the same time, because I did so with Mistborn and Wheel of Time, now with Warbreaker and Wheel of Time. It's just getting to be a little bit too much fantasy, and I don't really want to burn out from it. So yeah, next month when I finish the fantasy series, and yeah, I'm going to stick with Wheel of Time obviously, but the other books are going to be classics. So yeah, that's what I read in April and what I'm going to be reading in May, or plan to read in May. So yeah, tell me, what are you reading? What book made you think? What book did you enjoy? What book would you recommend? Share in the comments and let's have a discussion. And yeah, if you like this video, please drop a like, subscribe, ding the notification bell, share the video and all that stuff, and I'll see you next time.